But anyway, it's a very good story of basically like the anxieties of settling down and getting married and trying to find happiness in that. You know?
Well, to me, that's what the other film we're going to talk about. This one seems more about just like they're kind of starting off on a shitty, everyone's in a fucked up relationship in this one. I mean, the main relationship is a fucked up one.
Right.
The wedding that they're at.
Yes. Well, this is how my reading of the movie was basically living the same day over and over again is kind of the metaphor of settling down. Yeah. Of starting an adult life. And you have the two main characters who both of them are very childish. They're basically adult children who they drink too much. And for them, that's what's terrifying about becoming an adult is you're basically living the same day over and over again.
Yeah, and I could say just as someone who's like in my 30s that like it's funny because you do reach a point where you go like, no, being the man child is actually the nightmare. Yeah. Like where I know people Right. I know people that it's weird when it switches like Right. But like you see people who do live like that and you're like, "Oh my god, like that's scary shit."
Well, it's the story of a man child who has to basically accept the fact that he's getting older and he has to settle down. And that nightmare of living the same day over and over again is actually there's a lot of beauty and happiness with that. If you're with the right person. He's miserable before he meets Sarah. Right. And then he finds happiness in it. And you see at the end, right before they leave, there's a sly line that like one of the older women at the wedding goes to Sarah and was just like, "Oh, we're going to miss you now that you're leaving us." And basically like trying to hint at like there are more people who are kind of stuck in this time loop and they've found happiness in it. More like you're looking at the older people in your lives who've been married since forever, are living the same day over and over again, but they've learned to be happy with it.
Well, it's funny because like your goals kind of change where it's like when you're a kid, like for me, I would always think of like marriage, it would seem like that, but then you realize that it's like, no, it's just about like having some kind of peace of mind so that you could go and do the next moves. Like, you could worry about a career because you're not worried about all the chaos of your personal life. Do you know what I mean? Besides just having someone in your corner and stuff like that. Well, I know these are like super basic thoughts.
It is actually kind of an interesting way of our two different perspectives. So the director of this movie, Max Barbaco, he is your age. He's 31, so he probably wrote this when he's my age.
I don't like people that are my age and more successful.
Well, you want to know it's a little bit of a Josh Trank who we were talking about.
I'm just kidding. I don't really care.
Not that
AOC is 1 month younger than me, and that really bothers me.
Well, so Max Barbaco, he's 31, which this is his first feature directing. That's extremely young to be directing your first feature film.
What was that word there? You struggled
extremely
with that. There you go.
Young. His parents ran the Santa Barbara Film Festival, and
it's a coincidence.
And like we're high up in like the American Film Institute. So when you look at like, oh, he's very young, he's 31 for directing his first filming. Well,
that's life.
I mentioned that to Josh Trank, who also had started very young and had family in the industry, but Max Barbaco, I think, is much better as a director than Josh Trank is. Right. And so we have that movie, and then we have the other end of it, which is Vivarium, which Vivarium I do not like.
Okay, this is the first time you're actually telling me that.
Oh, yeah. No. I wanted to do these basically two drastically different approaches to the same movie. Not really the same movie, but the same metaphor. Which you're trapped in it. One of them is finding happiness, and the other one is kind of wallowing in the sadness of it. I've watched both of these movies twice. Palm Springs, I liked better the second time. Vivarium, I liked worse.
Well, this is a recurring theme for me, I feel like, throughout this. But again, this movie, Vivarium, it's another one where it's like you think it's deep when you're 18.
Right. No, exactly.
Right.
This movie is basically Tom and Gemma they're not newlyweds, they're just like a young couple, and they're looking at this house to buy, and then they get trapped in it. It's this housing complex that kind of goes on forever that you can't escape from. These mysterious demons or whoever drop off food for them.
They really stretch out this fucking concept.
They
man.
drop off a baby for them, and it's basically like the theme of what they're going for. I think it's like what you said, it would be deep if I was 18.
Yeah.
It's basically just like, well, how different is this from like the life you would normally live?
Yeah. It's so almost painfully like
it's
know
painfully obvious what the theme of the movie is.
Yeah.
With Palm Springs, like that idea of just like, oh, living the same day over and over again. Oh, it's like being married and being an adult.
Right.
I had to like think about that for a bit, because Palm Springs, I think, is a much smarter movie disguised as kind of a silly goofball movie.
100%.
Vivarium is a dumb movie
Perfectly said.
Fucking, I cannot pronounce words today. It's because I'm so angry about the Trump thing. It's a dumb movie, basically under the guise of like trying to be really smart.
Yeah.